SWAC has produced Hall of Fame players and coaches
that have shaped football as we know it today. But excellence doesn't stop at the game clock for us.
Since 1920, the SWAC has produced
some of the nation's leaders, innovators, and trailblazers.
Driven by greatness,
bonded by tradition, and building champions for life.
We continue to submit
ourselves into history.
Baby, we are the SWAC.
Hey everyone, it's that time. It is Cricket SWAC Game Day presented by Pepsi Zero Sugar. We are here with the end of the regular season staring us in the face like, oh, I see you. Jackson State has clinched the East. They will host the SWAC championship game for the second year in a row out west. Man, get out your instruction manual, get out your calculator, the extra Allen keys that you have. You're going to need all that. It's so far up in the air. I can't even see how it's going to work out. Today's show is brought to you by Cricket. Smile your own cricket. Pepsi Zero Sugar, official partner of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Week 11 gave us a little bit of clarity and definitely some drama. But before we get too deep in football, let's talk a little hoops. The SWAC Pac-12 Legacy Series, Alcorn State over Wichita State 66-57, Texas Southern over Arizona State 67-66, and Grambling over Colorado 83-74. That's 3 Power 5 schools going down to SWAC members this past week. All right, do we still want to talk strength of schedule? You want to come sit down and have that conversation about strength of schedule? Oh, you want to do that a little later? Okay, that's fine. We'll do that later. All right, let's get back to football. Week 11 scores from Alabama to Texas, everything in between. We had things popping this weekend. The SWAC scoreboard brought to you by General Motors, official sponsor of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Prairie View A&M, big over UAPB. That was a 50-burger in that game. Southern over Mississippi Valley State. Alcorn State just squeezed by Bethune-Cookman. FAMU over Alabama State. It goes down to the wire. Those highlights coming up. Jackson State over Alabama A&M, and Texas Southern with the big win over Grambling. Now, we had a lot of familiar matchups this past weekend, but we had one game where two teams are really getting reacquainted with one another again. As we get into highlights from last weekend, Vaughn Wilson kicks off our coverage from Montgomery.
Coming to you live from ASU Stadium, it was quite the game. Alabama State versus Florida A&M, and it went down to the final play. The Rattlers were able to prevail 21-14 over the ASU Hornets. It was quite the battle. Geographical rivals revisited, 2 of the best bands in the land, and it was spirited between all of the fans, students, and the teams.
With Jackson State all but locked in at the number 1 slot, the battle for second place in the SWAC East came down to FAMU, who has a flawless record since facing the Tigers, and the Alabama State Hornets, who lost a close game to JSU 26-12 a few weeks prior. Montgomery, Alabama would host the Rattlers for the first time since the newly renovated ASU Stadium made its debut in 2012. The opening kick was an indication of how the Rattlers would play team ball. Kendall Bowler, who we'll see later, has perfect pass defense on this play. It was quite a windy day in Montgomery, and it had its share of effects on the game. FAMU head coach Willie Simmons is here warning his returner that the ball would hang longer as ASU punter was kicking into the stiff, swirling breeze. Since the ball stayed up longer, it was just enough time for Trey Phillips to put a big hit on FAMU return man Jamari Sharif, who we'll also hear from later. FAMU All-American Xavier Smith has proven that he could find a spot in any defense. Here he snags a pass over the middle. Musa scrambles to get this ball to A.J. Davis, who had a good day both receiving and rushing. Musa would get this one to Smith, who would weave his way through the ASU defense for the game's first score on FAMU's first possession. He and tight end Kamari Young were like, shh. Auburn University transfer quarterback Demetrius Davis hits tight end Abdul Diop for key yardage in the first quarter. The Rattler defense would come up big with a forced fumble and recovery by General Hunt. Let's show the big boys a little love. Davis would come around the left end and get a first down for FAMU before being upended. Musa hits his favorite target in Smith again, followed by a shot to David Manigo. The ASU defense was stiffened as Chauncey Moore lays the wood on FAMU tight end Jeremiah Pruitt. In the story of the day, special team miscues defined the game. The usually precise Jose Romo Martinez missed 2 field goals as he dealt with the swirling wind pushing the ball all over ASU Stadium. Dre Jones is all over this play as FAMU's dark cloud defense stuns the Hornets. ASU's Santo Dunn scoots through a hole for this first down run. They even got me on this play. The flea flicker to Isaiah Scott, who must have played quarterback in high school because he delivered a dime to an all-alone Keshawn Johnson for ASU's only offensive TD of the game. If any of you grew up like I did, there was always a game outside the game, as these kids did what most of us used to do, start their own game. ASU coach Eddie Robinson Jr. tries to rally the troops right before the half, then halftime. You know how we do it at HBCUs. It's showtime. First, the FAMU Marching 100. Next on the set is the ASU Mighty Marching Hornets. Of course, no ASU show is complete without the honeybees. Now for the second half action. The Rattlers have the Hornets with their backs pinned against the goal line, and here comes Mr. Land. Isaiah Land and the Rattler defense keeps the Hornets back against the goal line. Then the FAMU defense turns up the heat as Bama State goes for the home run, but Courtney Cox defends this pass to perfection. Driving in the red zone, Kel Jackson baits Musa into this throw and breaks to intercept the pass. But the drive was ended as Nadarius Fagan forces the intentional grounding in the end zone, resulting in a safety, giving FAMU a 9-7 lead. The Rattlers went to the ball control offense with this big run by Jalen McLeod. Musa would then hit his favorite target in Smith, who turns this short pass into a big first down. Following Romo Martinez's second missed field goal, the FAMU defense would continue to tighten, contesting every ball. ASU punter Aubrey Grace took his eyes off this snap, ending with the Rattlers recovering in the red zone. But FAMU wouldn't capitalize as Kel Jackson gets his second interception of the game on the goal line. FAMU punter Chris Fadu's punt was blocked, scooped, and Jackson scored, giving the Hornets their first lead of the game at 14-9. FAMU Xavier Smith had 13 receptions for 145 yards, and this pass gets the Rattlers in striking distance. Jamari Shareed almost had this, and ASU almost had the pick. But on the very next play, Musa would draw ASU offsides and pretty much freeze everyone on a free play. He connects with Shareed, who holds onto the ball while doing a WWF souffle, carrying Mikey Victor into the end zone with him. This put the Rattlers up 15-14 late in the fourth quarter. But ASU would not go away, driving down the field and setting up for this 50-plus yard field goal into the wind. With 2 seconds left in the game, Dre Jones blocked it, and mama, there goes that man again. Kendall Bowler scooped and scored for the final 21-14 as it was pure pandemonium on the Rattler sideline, with that well-traveled fan base breathing sighs of relief. For the Rattlers, it was their 8th straight win and keeps hopes alive for an NCAA FCS bid to the playoffs.
Mobile, Alabama, the Hall of Famer, is leading his troops. It's a battle on the field and the stands. And what's this? Shiloh Sanders says it's now the J6. Alabama A&M Jackson State Gulf Coast Challenge. Speaking of Hall of Famers, Robert Brazil was the host all weekend long. He had a great time taking care of everyone. He even enjoyed the coin flip. A&M with the trick bag early, running on a fake punt, moving the ball down the field. Donovan Eaglin was set to make everyone on the field feel his presence. Geronte Davis, though, a walking illustration that the Tiger defense will bend but not break. He comes up with the big sack right here. A&M has to settle for a field goal. They take a 3-0 lead early. Would not last long as Travis Hunter takes the inside sweep toss, and he knows exactly what to do from there. Like a light, out like a light, baby. Isaiah Cox, you really have to be feeling yourself to kick off to this dude because he can do this. He returns at 68 yards, not for a touchdown, but man, that's some good field position. Unless that field position ends in a blocked field goal. Man, that one hurt. Alabama A&M not done though. Xavier Langford in the game at quarterback, and he's just picking off yards here. Choop, choop. Eaglin muscles his way over the line. It's a 10-7 ball game, Alabama A&M. Jackson State, however, has its own workhorse. You might have heard of him, Savion Wilkerson. He's not into arm tackles, but the Bulldog defense, they showed up to play on Saturday night. On 4th and goal, that's a no. Quincy Casey, the former Jackson State quarterback, he gets his shot at it. And you know, people usually don't try Travis Hunter out on the corner, but Casey does. Thought it was, but it wasn't. Travis Hunter, a big fan of Deion Sanders, his head coach. He studied everything that he did, and I mean everything. Second quarter action here. Hunter can play both ways. On the edge at receiver, he has the step, but the timing just a little off. Shedeur Sanders with Dallas Daniels back in the lineup this week. Can't quite get the grab, but when in doubt, just go to your tight end. DJ Stevens with the touchdown. It's 14-10 Jackson State. It was almost a touchdown. Isaiah Bolden with the scoop. Initially ruled a fumble, but it was just an incomplete pass. Take the points off the board. Just before the half, Shedeur directing traffic. He puts the ball where only Shane Hooks can grab it. That's a touchdown, and Hooks is ready to audition for solid gold. 21-10 Jackson State at the break. Third quarter is big game Willie Gaines. That's a touchdown back of the end zone. 2-point conversion, the Tebow jump pass. That's no good, but we do get Shedeur Sanders with the tackle. Later in the third quarter, bit of a scary moment here. Shedeur escapes the pocket, decides against the slide. He's hit hard, he fumbles. He goes down. He would eventually get up and leave the game, but not able to return for the rest of the evening. JP Andrade comes in as the backup, and with Jackson State up 27-10, all he had to do was manage the offense, don't turn it over, run the clock. Got a little hairy at times, but he was able to close out the game for Jackson State. A&M only manages a field goal in the second half, although the Bulldogs had more than a few opportunities to get in the end zone. Jackson State with the win. They clinch the East Division and home field advantage for the SWAC championship game.
The winners of the Gulf Coast Challenge, Jackson State University.
Bethune-Cookman and Alcorn State. The Braves take the lead early on behind the legs of Jarvion Howard. They extend this read option all the way out. Ends up as a 12-yard touchdown for Alcorn State. Tack on a field goal in the second quarter, and Alcorn's up 10-0. But after halftime, Bethune-Cookman really wakes up. Jalen Jones, he runs about 20 yards here, only gets credit for 9, but more importantly, 6 on the scoreboard. Then, in the fourth quarter, first lead of the game for Bethune-Cookman. Kamari Averett hauls in the touchdown from Jones, 14-10 BCU. But with under 5 to go, Alcorn State calls on its defense, and it answers the bell. Andrew Smith, a pick six, 50-yard interception return. That is enough for the win. Alcorn takes it 17-14. Grambling at Texas Southern. We slide over to Houston. Texas Southern with a 4th and 11 from the 31-yard line. Throw it up. Andrew Body slings it downfield to Derek Morton. That's a 30-yard pickup, good for a first down. Ladarius Owens would finish it off one play later for a 7-0 Texas Southern lead. Grambling responds. Julian Calvez fires one down the middle to Joshua Johnson. Boy, that looks easy. It's a 7-7 ball game, but it would not be an easy street type of day for Graham Fam. Texas Southern would reel off 34 unanswered points from that point forward. Tavares Akani is wide open as you'll ever be in life. Just a game of toss in the backyard for Body. And Body here cranks one out to A.J. Bennett, who immediately hits the Grambling defense with a little skirt. Changes directions, and yeah, they're not going to catch him. He's running to the band. Give that man a tuba. 65-yard score. Even the defense getting on the board. Isaiah Hamilton with a 12-yard pick six interception. Texas Southern scratched off a lot of names on this list this year. The Revenge Tour. 41-7 winners, still alive for a SWAC championship. Southern versus Mississippi Valley State. Before battle, we do shake hands, but then it's going to be a battle. Pick it up. Southern leading this one at home 7-0 when Glendon McDaniel rolls out of the pocket, a little flick of the wrist, and he whips that one 34 yards into the end zone. Tyler Kirkwood, you have yourself a touchdown. Check it out again. Very nice. Just drops it right in the basket. Valley driving in the third quarter. Oh, man. You wish you could get that one back. A high throw gets away from the receiver, but it does not get away from Mr. Harris here. Southern off to the races. Ultimately, not a touchdown, but a gift in the field position department. McDaniel would get it done on the ground this time, a 10-yard run. That was off the low snap as well. Southern rides on Valley 27-7. All right, let's get into this Week 12 schedule. We have a handful of games this weekend, and then next week we have a couple of Thanksgiving-themed matchups that we all look forward to every year. The Week 12 schedule presented to you by Rocket Mortgage. For an expert partner to help buy your new home, Rocket can. Prairie View A&M can wrap up the West title for the second year in a row with the win over Mississippi Valley State on the road. They are the only team in the West that controls its own destiny. Valley could care less about all of that business. They just want to end the season in the win column.
You know, we just got to continue to work, man, and finish this season out strong and end it on a positive note for these seniors that's been a part of this program and set this program. That has helped transition this program into a decent football team, a decent program.
You guys don't know it. A lot of fans don't know it, but these guys have been really resilient, man, from the start of August, man, training camp. To some of the things that we've been going through, and they hung in there, man, as a team, and they continue to go out there each week, each day, prepare themselves and get ready to play against football teams, which again, at least back to where we are right now. I mean, we're in a good position, and they got to understand that, the opportunity doesn't come often. They got to take advantage of the opportunities, and if they do that, we're going to be okay. But the opportunities, again, you got to take the opportunity, on the field come Saturday.
Texas Southern versus Alabama A&M. The Bulldogs played Jackson State really tough last weekend. A throw here or a throw there, a catch here, a catch there. That's potentially a different vibe in Mobile. What's up, Mobile? Had a good time down there as well. But, hey, that's how the game goes. Can the Bulldogs get it done to end the season at home on a positive note? Well, Texas Southern wants to end the season with a chaotic finish. They need some help in the standings, but the only part that they do control is winning on Saturday.
Really, the key is for those guys to believe, and once the guys start believing, it's hard to be the good football team that believes they're the best and believe they're going to win the game no matter what. Keep fighting back, especially those teams you see that get down 7, they come right back to score and tie the game up, or somebody score a touchdown, tie the game up with them, they go right back down and score and take the lead back. And it's all about confidence. It's all about believing. It's all about buying in.
That would be great for the program, great for recruiting. Hopefully it works out that way, but our focus is Alabama A&M. And so if we don't take care of business versus Alabama A&M, none of that really means anything. So hopefully a week from now we'll be talking, and I'll be able to give you more information. But our focus right now is Alabama A&M.
I do believe that was a smile on Coach McKinney's face, like half a smile, like the beginnings of a smile. Coach, it looks good on you, man. More smiles. All right, the Florida Classic. Do I need to say any more? I really don't, but I will. Bethune-Cookman has been playing entertaining and interesting football. They've just had issues putting these complete games together. FAMU, they won't make it to the Celebration Bowl, but here's the other thing. FAMU is ranked number 24 in FCS football in the latest coaches poll, a win over Bethune-Cookman, and you would have to think that they are definitely a lock for an at-large bid in the FCS playoffs, just like last year.
Well, obviously, don't want to sound like coaches speak, but none of that matters if we don't take care of business this weekend. So, we'll address that when the appropriate time comes. But right now, our sole focus is the Florida Classic. We gone into this game 2 out of our 3 years as the favorites, and we're 1-2, and so we can't get ahead of ourselves and think about anything other than winning this football game and preparing ourselves mentally and physically to go and play our best football. And so, we do that, then obviously we'll have the playoff discussions on Sunday if indeed we're invited. But we know that that's probably out the window if we don't take care of business this weekend.
The Florida Classic is a little bit different, and you can throw the record out the window when you play this football game, because you're talking about two teams who have been battling for years. We pull for each other. We're there for each other every other week of the season, except this one. And it's always a great battle. It's always a great football game. I think two great coaching staffs, two teams full of great athletes, very prepared athletes, very talented athletes. So it's another opportunity for our kids to put themselves on a national stage and showcase their talents.
Jackson State versus Alcorn State. I've been on the record for this. No matter where they play, whether it be Lorman or Jackson, I'm calling this the Soul Bowl because that's the greatest name ever. The Soul Bowl. I love that. This year's game is in Lorman, so it's Soul Bowl proper. And let's take a look at Alcorn State. They hit a slump, and you thought they were out of it, right? But the Braves have a chance. They have a chance. I'm saying they have a chance. And a chance is all anyone could ask for.
Just got to find out the things that we can do best and things that we can get better from, in terms of preparing for this ball game. Trying to explore some of the weaknesses that they have, just looking at film and just getting a good game plan together to execute and score touchdowns and get a good game plan for the defense to create turnovers and not let them score. So it's a tough task for us, special team wise. We got to prepare. They got a lot of speed. So we just got to make sure we're doing the right things to put our guys in the best situation to win a ball game.
I'm just getting to understand the rivalries as well. But I tell you what, they have a wonderful head coach over there, and Coach McNair. They a storied school, university. I have the utmost respect. When I tell you the utmost respect, to me, Coach McNair is truly one of the leaders. He's a pillar of the HBCU legacy. When I was at, where was it? Southern Miss visiting down there with Shador, they were playing against Southern Miss. And I took it upon myself on a visit to Southern Miss to go in his locker room and meet him and his kids. So that's how much love and respect and admiration I have for Coach. And he's a gift. He's a gift to the SWAC. He's always been a gift to any coaching unit that he's been a part of. And I just got love for him. So going to the game, it's a tremendous game. It's a close proximity rivalry. And it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
Turkey Day Classic and the Bayou Classic are next week. We'll give those guys and those games their due on next week's show, but definitely something to look forward to. Let's take a look now at the SWAC standings heading into the final game of the regular season. Each team has one game left, and it'll be spread out over the course of the next 2 weekends. The West, it is a mess. but like a mess in the best way possible because we're trying to figure it out. It's like spaghetti in the bowl. SWAC standings brought to you by General Motors, official sponsor of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. All right, out east, it's a wrap, man. Jackson State 10-0, 7-0 in the SWAC. They have clinched their berth in the SWAC championship game. FAMU looking good for the FCS playoffs. Alabama State, Alabama A&M, Bethune-Cookman, and Mississippi Valley State round out the standings in the east. Now, let's go to the west. Boy, oh boy. Prairie View A&M, if they win, they're golden. They're 5-2 right now, alone in first place. But you look at second place. We got Southern. We have Texas Southern. We have Alcorn State, all at 4-3. If they win, if all those teams win, man, we got some figuring out to do. Grambling State and Arkansas Pine Bluff round out the West. Now, everyone in the SWAC West plays someone from the SWAC East, except for Southern, who plays Grambling, but the Tigers don't have a shot at the division this year. So in theory, we could have 4 teams that are 5-3 at the end of the Bayou Classic, and then it's tiebreaker time. I mean, the tiebreaker has like 8 different scenarios and criteria points. It all begins with head-to-head matchups. You'll try to weed things out from there, and then you go down the line, and if we can't figure it out after the 7th thing, it ends with a coin flip. So many scenarios, so many different things can happen. Just make sure you don't miss the action this weekend, and we'll try to figure it out next week. All right, time now for the SWAC Players of the Week from their performances in Week 11. Players of the Week brought to you by Pepsi Zero Sugar, official partner of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. FAMU's Xavier Smith and Kendall Bowler, along with Jackson State's Aubrey Miller Jr. and Alcorn State's Andrew Smith, are the SWAC Football Players of the Week for their impressive performances during games played last weekend. Let's start on offense. Smith contributed a spectacular performance for FAMU, finishing with 13 receptions, a season-high 145 receiving yards, and 1 touchdown. His efforts helped the Rattlers claim a 21-14 win at Alabama State. All right, let's talk defense. Aubrey Miller tallied a season-high 17 tackles, 9 of them solo, to go along with a fumble recovery and 1 pass breakup during Jackson State's win over Alabama A&M. The victory helped clinch JSU's spot in the SWAC championship game and an Eastern Division title. Tigers 10-0 for the season. Our specialist of the week, Bowler. He blocked an Alabama State field goal attempt. You saw that earlier in the show. Returned it 51 yards for a touchdown this past weekend. That propels FAMU to a key league win and maybe more for the postseason. 8 straight wins for the Rattlers. All right, let's talk about our newcomer of the week, Smith. He came up with perhaps the biggest play of the day on defense for Alcorn State against Bethune-Cookman. He intercepted a 4th quarter pass before subsequently returning it. I love that word, subsequently. I have a cousin named Quentin. I always think of him when I say subsequently. See how I did that? He returned it 50 yards for the game-winning touchdown. The Braves will go on to defeat upset-minded BCU by a score of 17-14. Our Players of the Week, congratulations. Looking forward to a dramatic finish to the SWAC regular season this weekend, extending into next week. This is Cricket SWAC Game Day, presented by Pepsi Zero Sugar. I'm Tali Carr from Atlanta, wishing everyone well, and we'll see you right here next week.